The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Assalamu alaikum. That means peace be unto you. Welcome to Liberated Sisters, recorded live right here at Morris Media Studios. Today at Liberated Sisters, we have Brother Jesse Muhammad kicking things off with the Farrakhan Factor. And after that, we are going to speak with Brother DJ General Jeff, Skid Row activist in LA, with the Skid Row Report. But first, the Justice Report. Today's Liberated Sisters Justice Report comes, of course, out of the Final Call newspaper. The cover story is really hot. Southern Poverty Law Center, selling hatred and pushing fear. This story by our own managing editor, Sister Starla Muhammad. There's the cover story. Charges of racism, sexism, inside civil rights. This is quote unquote. Inside this civil rights group, and critics say the organization is more about fundraising than fairness. Meanwhile, some activists say it is time the anti-black group was exposed. A little bit later today, shortly after we broadcast here at Morris Media Studios, my intent is to run a 32-minute clip of Minister Farrakhan speaking to Brother Rock Newman, boxing great, promoter great Rock Newman, calling for a showdown with the Southern Poverty Law Center as well as the ADL for very various reasons. One among them being the continued dogged style, the haunting, the stalking that they have done of Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam and other black leaders. And so, inshallah, God willing, that will be coming up later after this 1-hour broadcast. The other articles I want to highlight in this issue of the Final Call newspaper, which you should go run and subscribe online to the digital edition at finalcall.com. Not the end of anything. This is regarding Mueller's report. The report wrap up doesn't mean investigations, acrimony are over. Now, this report is from Brother Askia Muhammad, and what he is talking about is the report by, let's get it, the special counsel Robert Mueller of the Trump White House, President Trump. Brother Skia said there was no collusion involving the President of the United States at the Russian government to influence the 2016 presidential election, and there will be no impeachment of the president based on the long-awaited Mueller report. This is coming out of the Justice Department, out of the independent report. And so Brother Askia Muhammad writes about that. And then, again, Starla Muhammad with the hypocrisy, hate, and the Southern Poverty Law Center. I advise you to go to NOI research group because I'm sure that they're going to follow up her report with more information. One more thing I want to call your attention to in this justice report is my story. Thank Allah for the ability to raise awareness about this. The 9 hunger strikers in Alabama. The conditions in the U.S. prisons, everyone, look, they're bad. they're bad. We're the top incarcerator in the world. But in Alabama, in the South, it's like none other. These activists, these inmate activists are part of peacekeeping groups. I'm understanding from reports that they keep peace inside the prisons. Two specifically and their team, they really keep a lot of violence down, is what sources tell the Final Call. And so they were taken out of one of the most horrific prisons, St. Clair, and they were moved to Holman Correctional Facility in Alabama. And the prison system says that the intent is to keep the peace and tranquility of the institution. But voices I've talked to, various credible voices, have said that these brothers actually and sisters actually keep the peace. They keep the fighting down. And so you'll see in the report that at one institution, the guards praised one inmate that was transferred there because they said that they knew he would keep the violence down. So that's the information coming out of the Final Call. There's more, and that's the Justice Report. We're going to turn now to the Farrakhan factor. Okay, thank you. So we're going to be waiting for Brother Jesse. He's going to be with us hopefully shortly. But what I would like to do is turn to our guest. And what we'll do, Brother General, we'll come back in with Brother Jesse as soon as we get a signal. But let me hear your thoughts on what I broke out with in the Justice Report.
A lot of troubling topics.
Yeah.
On a widespread. First of all, thank you for having me.
Oh, first of all, I'm like, welcome. That's right, because I jumped you in a little sooner. But welcome back, Brother General. And thanks for all you do, and thank you for the Skid Row report.
Indeed. Thank you for having me. And so, Brother Jesse will be with us shortly. But in the meantime, when you talk about the Southern Poverty Law Center, I personally, us in Skid Row, we personally have our own issue with them because we're in the process of creating the Skid Row Neighborhood Council a couple of years ago, and we felt that we got cheated out of our election by the city of Los Angeles. And so we, not only looked all over Los Angeles, all over California, but throughout, we had to go outside of California because we couldn't find any legal representation. Wow. And one of the entities that we reached out to was the Southern Poverty Law Center, and we figured, hey, they're civil rights. They're all about helping, the people. And, they basically slammed the door in our face. And so it was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that they got down like that. I mean, I had to pull up the emails and remember the actual language, but, the tone was.
No.
I mean, yeah. Just to say it lightly.
No, let me be serious.
But, and so then here they are back again with even more in-depth reasons and information and evidence accusing them of more harsh, situations. It's like, well, we can't help but corroborate that because us in Skid Row, all the way out here in Los Angeles, we felt the same thing.
Yeah, man, they lie. They lie, much like the police. But Minister Farrakhan, and I was going to play that, but it's, again, 32 minutes, and I want everyone to really have it. He calls them out. But he said recently at Savior's Day, they will not come out. They can't come out because we have the history, we have the record. And this is what now you see coming out in the Final Call report and all of this, like sexism, racism. But how dare you stand on top of some mountain or in flatland and, ruin lives? Black leaders have gone to their deaths, have been kicked out of this country on that falsehood, right? So what I think we could do is not to go too far into it because I want to make sure that we have the Farrakhan factor. We have a clip of Minister Farrakhan, and he is congratulating one of our great poets in the Caribbean. And so if we could play that and then we could get Brother Jesse. Oh, got Brother Jesse. How about that?
Hey.
All right, Brother Jesse. Hey, I want to hear the theme song. The Farrakhan Factor. Here it is.
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll fight for my brothers. We could go to war.
Fighting for my father, I will give my life for. I feel so alone in this white man's world. Whip it in the kitchen, watch that white turn pearl. Standing on the corner, standing on my phone, standing with my gangsters, but I'm standing on my own. If you let me alone, live you like you did alone.
Here's Brother Jesse with the Farrakhan Factor. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Jesse.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing today, brother?
Man, doing wonderful. Praise be to Allah. How you doing, my sister?
Man, I'm doing fabulous. I'm looking forward to your report. I want to tell you, sitting here with me is our brother General Jeff. He's back.
Hey, how you doing, my brother? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Doing wonderful, good soldier.
Indeed.
On the line with you two great activists that activate a lot.
Alhamdulillah. We could say the same. Brother Jesse, set up the the Farrakhan Factor clip for us. Oh, and by the way, okay, the Southern Poverty Law Center. Did you see the cover today, the final call?
Yes, man. I know we had a slight grammatical error on it. I think we meant the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Right. Let's holler at get the editor on the phone.
Right, yeah, we need to get the editor on the phone. No, yes, ma'am, I surely did see them on the cover of the final call. It's most fitting since they have done a job of making money off falsely labeling us as haters. So
right.
It's only right that we put them on the cover and expose them for who they really are. But interestingly, they want to hold back information, but the final call is right on top of it.
Exactly. So, Brother Jesse, set up our clip with Minister Farrakhan today, the Farrakhan Factor, and then we come back and close out.
Absolutely. This past Sunday in Kingston, Jamaica, they had a beautiful ceremony for the great renowned poet, musician, actor, educator, and talk show host of the Cutting Edge, our brother Muta Baruka.
Muta Baruka, I love that name.
And he was given the 2019 Lifetime Achievement Award, which is long overdue, definitely worthy, and our brother has been a strong warrior, representing our people there in Jamaica and throughout the Caribbean. And so the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is a good friend of him and who has always been invited on his shows when the minister has toured the Caribbean. So the minister decided to do a recorded video message that was played at the actual ceremony that, from what we were told, got a standing ovation. And from, as I'm going to read some of the feedback from social media, the people just absolutely loved the words of the minister. But along with congratulating him, the timing of this video was that 5 Caribbean leaders decided to accept the invitation of President Donald Trump to sit down and have a meeting about the government of Venezuela. And we already know what that's all about. This is the video that the minister sent to our beloved brother and message of guidance to the Caribbean leaders.
Thank you. And we'll come right back and you can close out, Brother Jesse. Thank you. Here's Minister Farrakhan.
Greetings to you. I am Minister Louis Farrakhan, National Representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. What a joy it is to have words to say to my beloved friend, brother, and companion in struggle, Muta Baruka. I am so proud of you, my brother, that they are giving you a Lifetime of Service award. You have earned it by the wonderful way you have helped to guide and make the people of the Caribbean joyous at your poems and at your music. And so I too feel like it is my honor to say these few words to you at a time like this. The name of your radio show is The Cutting Edge. And you have always been at the cutting edge of the things that happen to black people in America, in the Caribbean, in Africa, you have dedicated your life to our struggle to attain in reality the three great principles of life itself: freedom, justice, and equality. And we know that these principles are right before us. They're in our hands. But what we have to do is struggle against the ignorance of self that keeps us divided one from another. Now, I understand that President Trump has invited 5 prime ministers of 5 different nations to meet him in Mar-a-Lago, thanking those 5 nations for their assistance with Venezuela. I just wanted to say, through you, Mutabaruka, to our prime ministers from Jamaica, the Bahamas, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, President Trump and his administration is interfering in the affairs of a sovereign nation. I hope that these prime ministers and premiers of these beautiful Caribbean islands are not sold on anyone interfering in the internal affairs of a nation. And we are on the cutting edge of doing something either to aid or abet the overthrow of a legitimately elected official in what Jimmy Carter in 104 elections said is the cleanest, the fairest that he has seen. So why is Maduro being ousted? Why do they want him out of the way? Beloved brothers and sisters who are watching this tribute to a warrior, a man that stays at the cutting edge, a man that refuses to compromise his dignity as a principled black man for any favor that somebody might wish to give him to silence or weaken his voice. That's why you're getting a Lifetime of Service award, because you have never sold out to the forces that don't like your voice at the cutting edge. Several years ago, our sister Eugenia Charles from Dominica spoke with Ronald Reagan. He used a leader from the Caribbean to invite him into the Caribbean with military force to attack the island of Grenada and destroy that socialist thinking, kill the prime minister, and try to turn that island back to what they call democracy, which none of us really have achieved in the United States of America, much less under white supremacy and its rule. So I'm hoping that this message will get to these prime ministers, that if Mr. Trump asks you to invite him, as Eugenia Charles was asked to be invited by Ronald Reagan to justify his murder of a prime minister, and the disruption of his government. I hope that at the cutting edge, you will say thank you, but no thank you. And believe me, they will offer you all some nice things that you would desire. But if you accept it and lose your soul, then is it better for you to have the little money or trinkets or whatever they promise you? Because a liar will never follow his promise. And that is our experience with our ever watchful enemy. So, beloved, Mutabaruka, thank you for the privilege of allowing me to honor you at this time. And I pray that my Prime Minister of Jamaica and Bahamas and Haiti and the Dominican Republic and I think it is St. Lucia, I hope you will not make the mistake that Eugenia Charles made that makes her name go down in history as one who violated sacred principles to achieve what for Dominica. So thank you for this privilege. May Allah God bless you, guide you, protect you, and grant you knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and power through the word, that we may put to a perpetual flight Satan and his imps, for we are truly at the cutting edge. God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. That's a beautiful man right there. Brother Jesse.
Wow.
Wow. Brother Jesse, I know the world is responding to that.
Yes, indeed. You know, the minister is the only man who profoundly honors people when they're alive and when they make their transition.
Right.
He's always given that right word. So he's a man that's undoubtedly on the cutting edge because it means at the latest or most advanced stage of development, innovative or pioneering.
Come on.
So his words always speaks in future perfect tense for something down the line. And what a wonderful example. So here's some of the comments that came in from Jamaica.
Thank you.
They said, Minister Farrakhan and Muta Baruka are two of the strongest warriors that we have left. This is one legend honoring another legend. Another person said, I feel everything that he said, and I fear everything that he said.
Whoa.
He touched my heart. Congratulations, Muta Baruka, on your Lifetime Achievement Award. You have always stood for us, and Minister Farrakhan is not nowhere near any kind of weak man.
Wow. Of course. Wow. That's right.
If only these Caribbean leaders would listen to Minister Farrakhan, he is showing them what a real man looks like.
Yeah.
Here's a man that has stood all this time and will not be bought off. You will not buy off Muta Baruka. So you prime ministers, don't take some trinkets from Trump. Have a backbone for a change.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
What a joy to have a man like this, that while I'm in the Dominican Republic and don't recognize a particular religion, but I do recognize that Farrakhan is a spiritual man from on high.
Wow.
First of all, look how good he looks. You know he's divinely protected. And I'm here to tell you all, you got to stand with Farrakhan and Muta Baruka.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just watched this on Facebook all the way in Angola, and I'm so touched by this. This is the message that us young people need to hear and understand, that Farrakhan and Muta Baruka are walking history and they're walking future because they have stayed on code and on the cutting edge.
Wow. Wow.
Two more. Minister Farrakhan is not wrong. I'm from Venezuela. America is nothing but a beast that's trying to steal our oil and trying to do things for their friendship in Israel. I'm here to tell you all, Minister Farrakhan is the voice, so all of those prime ministers should be watching this on Facebook the way we're watching this. And lastly, this is an example and message to all of us as human beings. Stop bowing down and compromising. Minister Farrakhan hit the nail on the head. No matter what anybody offers us in life, none of us should have a price. We should be willing to pay it all to see our people rise. And we should all want to get a Lifetime Achievement Award before God, because He's ultimately the one that honor comes from. Wow.
You gave me chills right there.
Hey, who you telling? Has it stood up on my arm? So that's the power of social media.
That's right.
That we played it live on the minister's Facebook page yesterday and been spreading it. And we've been blessed to get responses back from every Caribbean island that represents those prime ministers that met with Donald Trump. So the people in all of those corners got a chance to see the minister's words. And Sister Charlene, in general, do you know people started tweeting the prime ministers, tagging them on Facebook, tagging them on Instagram, saying, you all need to watch this.
Wow.
Because a liar never intends to follow up on this promise. And we on this phone, and those that are watching, we know that Satan only promises to deceive. And that's the Farrakhan factor.
Wow, Brother Jesse, thank you so much for sharing that. We appreciate the clip, you and the research team, anyone involved in putting that together so we could have it here. And it's unfiltered. See, those who try to stifle and stop Minister Farrakhan's words, we see in the final call, now they're on blast and they're going down, but he's untouched, unfazed, still delivering the message. And we had the 19th anniversary of the Million Man March in Jamaica. And the minister then warned and guided, so continuously guiding us with such love. It's not in a way that people can't hear it or receive it. So I would pray that, as you said, they accept it. So I really appreciate the Farrakhan factor and you staying with us for the duration today.
And may I add just one last thing?
Please do.
You know, in Jamaica, general, our brother minister did something so profound in seeding the grounds of those islands and the people there for this time period. The minister hosted that event for free to the public. For free.
Wow.
And he gave away thousands of books and DVDs.
He did.
For free.
Remind us, that's right.
So imagine how many people have messed to the black man. The relationship between blacks and Jews.
That's right.
All of America in their homes, in their islands, in their villages.
He did.
They took that word and the seed been planted. That when a message like this from the minister goes out, it's just watering the seed that he planted years ago.
Oh, my God. Brother Jesse, look. Okay, we're going to, you know what? Liberated Sisters needs to run some of that footage from Jamaica. The sisters under the helm of student national captain, Sandy Muhammad, of course, under the watchful, careful iron protection of the Supreme Captain Mustafa and Nefawai, went out into Jamaica. Right. First of all, Sister Sandy spoke, Brother General, but then the sisters went out into the community, got mobbed lovingly. But wasn't it something to see the red, black, and green and all the dreadlock rosters in there with their little, oh my God, it was really something to be home. But okay, Brother Jesse, thank you for the Farrakhan factor. Let me calm down.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much.
I'm looking at the wrong camera.
Thank you too, brother. Powerful words.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Get these eyes straight. Okay, Brother General, here we go. All right, everyone, we turn now to the Skid Row report. And let me just say something really quick. It wasn't lost on me. Even before, when Brother General was on about 3 weeks ago, I think, and I asked him if he would come back and speak more in depth about what he's doing and what's happening with our community there. After that, I saw a post you put up March 18th on Facebook. He put up a breaking news alert, and he said that there was a woman living in SRO. Now, SRO is the name of the development.
Well, that's the type of housing it is, single room occupancy.
In a single room occupancy facility in Skid Row, it's cried out for help. So you take us there and let us know what happened so far with her. Look, we must protect women on Skid Row.
Indeed. Well, we must protect our sisters everywhere.
That's right.
But yeah, when they're dealing with homelessness, and a lot of other factors, poverty and other things. And so there's not a lot of safety nets and protections involved. And so, as a frontline soldier in the streets of Skid Row for 12 years, my name and information is out there. And so people contact me, with a myriad of issues and concerns. And I try to do all I can to help, address any and all of them. And so, the data and statistics in terms of homelessness is showing that the fastest rising demographic is homeless females.
That's right.
And so, and you've got a lot of females in tents, because all the SROs, which is low income housing for homeless folks, they're full and there's waiting lists. The missions are full, the shelters are full, everything is full. It's this huge backlog. And so the next option is to, sleep on the sidewalk in a tent or get some tarp and lay under some tarp. I saw a female just last night. She had basically a plastic trash bag that she crawled into and was struggling all night trying to pull it up over her when it won't cover her whole body, but it's just that natural instinct to try to pull the covers up and get warm.
Yeah.
That's just that. And so next thing you know, I think she was in either sleep, in the state of sleep. She basically wound up punching holes in the bag through her feet to pull it up, the blanket up around, the trash bag around her neck area, and it was just a sad sight to see. And so, folks was, just walking by like it was nothing. And so, anyway, that's the foundation of what the climate is. And it's been that way actually for, well over a decade. I've been there 12 years and, I could go, I'm not here to, be the doom and gloom guy, but
no, this is real.
So, sure. And so, a lot now all of a sudden, women are reaching out to me, with their horror stories, if you will. And so this one particular female reached out to me at the end of last year. And, she had heard my name. She contacted me on Facebook. And, she hit me in the direct message and was just crying out for help. And I mean, just this long, just long diatribe, this monologue of her issues. And, I reached back and, tried to, talk to her about, what best to do, because there was a lot of, violent and illegal things that she was describing. The first thing is, to contact the police and things of that sort. When we're talking about women, I mean, it's, I'm not about to, get up in the middle of the night and just act like I'm, the, superhero, and I'm about to go and kick in the door and protect all the women in the world. I can't do that by myself, but, I'll post up outside the building in the middle of the night and try to, have a constant positive presence as much as I can, but, that can only go so long. So, what I told her was that, it would be most effective if we filmed a video. Okay. And then with that video, we can hit social media, email City Hall and push it around.
Did you film a video?
We didn't. And
where's that at? Let's get it.
No, and that was the thing. And so, she on the 18th, when she responded, that's, how she starts off the conversation. Cause I'm still like, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? And so we'll set up a date and then they'll be like, oh, I can't. Cause, some chaos happened last night and, you can't, and it's a coordination project because, we got a film crew. It's a thing that we really want to do it and push it out there. Right. But, there's always, it seems, as soon as we get ready, she's ready, something will pop up, like they say, Satan will get in the way and just run some interference, and we haven't done it yet. So on the 18th, I posted the direct message, latest one that she sent me. And so she started off, and I'm just going to read it now.
Sure.
She says, thank you. There can be no video. And so that's why I was talking about the video that I wanted to shoot. And she said, we need emergency intervention in here. There's no staff at night, many burglars, home invasion, gangbangers partying on our roof all night. The laundry room is closed at 5 and is badly infested. The elevator has been turned off again. They say it needs a part, but the fire alarm's going off almost every night. Crackheads roaming around at night. And just be understand, folks. It's a little graphic, but it's the truth.
It's what we're experiencing down there.
And he said they let criminals roam around, robbing, assaulting, using drugs in the stairwells late at night. Gangsters are causing a disturbance, stomping around on the roof all hours of the night. They close our laundry room at 5 now and take away the microwave at 5. They put all violent offenders in here and drugs and thugs, loan sharks, and the manager's office in the daytime is confined with closed blinds, so we can't even tell if she's in there. They cut the water pressure in the shower so you can't even wash the deadly parasites off your body properly, and deadly contagious diseases spread like wildfire. My neighbor fight with his boyfriend almost every night and takes it into the hallway. So severe is the physical abuse that my rescue cat got so scared she bit me, literally attacked me out of fear. Yet the guy is still allowed to come back in every night and they still fight. It's brutal and very frightening to have to listen to the screeching alarm fires going off almost every night while we have no staff at night and no security. Dope fiends run the halls and constantly knocking at my door all hours of the night, demanding money or smokes or a lighter and, of course, my food.
Brother General.
And, so, how do you respond to that? First of all, that's a lot to process, and when you hear, it's so much going on. So, of course, the management company, and I put it out there on my Facebook post where I didn't reveal her name. I respect for her privacy and protection, but I still put the issues out there.
That's right.
But the company is a Skid Row Housing Trust building. That's one of the leading nonprofit housing providers in Skid Row.
Did you speak with them?
I did not, because I've had so many ongoing issues with them. I've been told by a lot of their staff that I'm considered public enemy number one over there. So they won't have any respect. While we used to have a dialogue, and I want to, say that myself and other activists, our efforts led to the ouster of their former executive director who left last summer.
I get it.
And so they have not officially replaced him yet. And so they're scrambling to try to stay afloat in terms of how their in-house operations are happening. And I'm hearing information from the inside that it's crazy over there. And so that's why their properties are being so poorly managed right now.
I'm tracking.
And so,
have you been able, or your team been able to put your team right? But you do have a team, but been able to put eyes on that situation, verify anything of what she's saying, since you didn't speak to the people that run that property?
I've been in the building and I've seen some of it with my own eyes, but anytime I go in one of their buildings, all of a sudden the word spreads out, and public enemy number one's here, and they try to come with it. You can't be in here, or they try to come and hover around, because I part of my activism is to show up, at their front door. If I'm invited by the residents to come in the building, we'll sit in the lobby, have a meeting, have a talk. So then the manager's right there, or if staff is walking by, they're going to see, hey, what's going? He's here. Okay. They're going to contact the main office. So that's going to spook them a little bit to where they better get their house in order. And because we're coming, and so
how's she doing now, if I may ask? Like, what's happening?
I have not heard from her since then.
I got it.
Her phone is always off. When it's on, it's not working. She's talking about it being tapped, and it's being stuff going on with the phone, and it's a lot of stuff going on, and so a lot of issues, and it's so frustrating because it's a private building. I can't just run in there.
No, you can't.
LA police, the police department, they won't just run in there. They have to be contacted, and of course a lot of folks don't. And a lot of folks
will run in with guns blazing. But I know what you're
right.
saying.
Right. Well, I mean, just to in terms of inspecting and things that sort, and then and so the buildings in Skid Row, the SROs are pretty much a safe haven. And LAPD won't just go unless there's something happen a criminal act happen on the sidewalk or out in the public, and a suspect runs into the building, then they have probable cause. Then they can enter. Yeah. Other than that, they have to get permission from the property owner or management or a tenant. So they can't just roll up in the buildings like that. And so
how can we solve? I think if we take that situation, I mean, at this point, not knowing her whereabouts, what's happening, I think if we take that issue and that site, what do you need? What do you as an activist need to be able to help in that type of situation that the viewers, listeners could possibly jump in on? Because I've asked, when I heard you talking about our sister with the blankets, this woman, I put out a call for blankets, feminine products.
Hygiene,
I put out a call for hygiene, socks, jackets, warm clothing, and we'll have a drop-off point to let you know where you can do that. And also, I don't want to say send money, but we'll figure out how you can do that if you're not here, how you can do that. There's going to be something vetted, a very safe place to do that. But go ahead.
Skid Row Housing Trust, they have security while it's not, on site. They actually have roaming security. So, one security team or even just one individual may roam and hit, 5 to 10 buildings just driving around, just checking to basically make sure like the building's not on fire. But as far as actually, monitoring and being on site, preventing things from happening, because what a lot of folks do is, especially, the riffraff on the outside, they'll just wait till, the security leaves. And then they know, we got about 45 minutes to get in the building and we can do whatever it is we want to do. And then once they're in, then they're, they're in there for hours and hours. And so, but so the thing is, what a lot of folks can do, I don't have the number of Skid Row Housing Trust. They call the main office and voice concern. I mean, that, it starts there. Phone lines are ringing, emails, just, energy. We just need energy. Folks don't have to come to Skid Row. It's not that kind of a thing, but we need to put pressure on Skid Row. City Hall, because a lot of the funding comes from, we need these, our politicians and political representatives to even be made aware, or if they are aware, to be reminded about what's going on. Is really bad. And so, the good thing is the weather has changed. So a lot of our so it's warm. So we don't have the rain. So a lot of our folks aren't drowning, literally drowning on the sidewalks and freezing, due to the elements. So, the warm weather helps. But, still, whether you're on the sidewalks or indoors, the issue is high. And then, it's all about the nonprofits. I mean, I'll tell it to their face, they're poverty pimping. They're poverty pimping. As long as homelessness continues to exist, they're continuing to get paid. And so, they help, the ones, the twos, or the fews, just for the photo op, or just to justify, the funding. And, but the majority, they just leave them, pretty much leaving them for dead, literally. And, homeless people are a commodity. And as long as homelessness exists, they'll continue to get paid. You got CEOs and executive directors in Skid Row making six-figure salaries as high as $200,000 and $300,000 a year out of funding that's supposed to be to help the people.
Wow.
That's poverty pimping. Poverty pimping is alive and well.
And those are not elected officials. Those are not elected positions. Those are private. Well, they're nonprofits, but they have boards and boards hire. And so this is a thing that goes around in circles, goes around in circles.
Right. And so then the nonprofit structure, is approved by the IRS, and the parameters are created and stipulations are created from HUD, which is the Department of Housing of Urban Development. And that's out of Washington, D.C. And so all that energy. So at the end of the day, it's the federal government allowing this poverty pimping to happen.
Is there any one organization that you trust or know of, or do you know of sisters that are mobilizing and strategizing around serving the women on Skid Row, specifically women's issues? Like I put up dignity, deserving of dignity, because you had mentioned that you kind of knew that organization was well trusted, and I put that up in terms of the donation request. But is there anyone or any group that's doing that?
Women's issues specifically? No,
to serve the women of Skid Row. I mean, food and the different things that are happening now, thank God for.
Yes.
However, with that, I'm looking at anybody strategizing, like really just organizing them even to advocate from within. Well, I know LA can, obviously, like those.
Of course,
LA can.
That's what I call a grassroots nonprofit.
Exactly, but people like literally that can put boots or pumps on the ground,
right?
And I mean, not tackling the whole Skid Row at once, of course, but maybe one street. Anybody doing that, and if so, how can we reach them to help do with what they're already starting? It's hard because, you have a lot of folks, and we're talking about grassroots folks. Mm-hmm. You have some religious folks, that church-going folks that, especially on Sundays after service, they'll come down and they help everybody. I have never seen any like women, because like if you get blankets, you'd be like, okay, here, women. Then if a man in need or, a transgender person in need, you're not going to be able to tell them no. So, I mean, I don't know how the help can be women only. There is a huge nonprofit in Skid Row called Downtown Women's Center. Okay.
But I've heard a lot of women complaining about what's going on in there, and so they don't allow men in. Mm-hmm. I've gone in there.
Good.
I'm with that. Right? Because women need their safe space. There's an issue with women with children; they don't allow in. Mm. And it's like, well, if you're the women's center and women have children, well, how come the kids? Oh, we don't be responsible for the kids, blah blah blah. And it's a whole other.
So it's single women or women not attached to children.
And to me, that ties into what us activists say on the front line, that the Skid Row infrastructure is anti-family.
Oh, wow.
Single room occupancy, one person per room. Whether you coming through homelessness, whether you got mental illness and going through recovery or whatever you're doing in your life, you don't want to live by yourself. That's not natural. Where's the reconnecting people to their families? If there's a husband and wife, they're legally married and they're both homeless, how come they can't stay in an apartment together, a single room occupancy room together?
What's at the root of this?
Systemic oppression. Mm-hmm. And poverty pimping. At the end of the day, that's all it is. Mm-hmm. In 2016, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority administers a homeless count, and then they finally admitted, because as activists on the front line have been saying for years, Skid Row has been a majority African American population, the black community since the 80s, since the crack epidemic hit, and a lot of black families got hit hard, and a lot of folks migrated to Skid Row, and so but. The census and all the other data wouldn't state that. And so finally in 2016, that's why I specifically mentioned that homeless count, because that was the first time anywhere that white America admitted that Skid Row's majority black population at 62%. And, so then also they also said that Skid Row was 76% male. So that means it's 24% female. I don't believe those numbers because there's a lot of women there, and that was in 2016. Yeah, the new numbers, 2019. While they've done the homeless count for 2019 at the end of January, they're not scheduled to release the new numbers until May, the beginning of May. So we're a little more than 30 days away. But it'll be interesting to see where the new numbers are, because now we'll have this see where the trend. While the city of Los Angeles has been framing the narrative that homelessness is going down, they've been trying to reduce it as much and soften the blow as much as possible to make it seem like their solutions are working. They're not. And that's why, I appreciate Liberated Sisters for having a liberated brother come on today to talk about homelessness in depth, part 2. As a follow-up, because we got some sisters out there that are truly in need.
Yeah. Without the numbers, I can't say no, because then I don't have the numbers. Somebody will produce a report and say, look, here's the numbers. We can manipulate numbers.
Right.
But our people and the people who are going further and further inland, Gardena, Carson, Torrance, Long Beach, they're not camping.
Right.
This is not Yosemite. They're not out there saying, hey, let's get this camper trailer. And I'm like, where are they getting all these campers from? They're just lined up. Right. But No. You could just look at the landscape and see that this is increasing.
Well, a lot of those folks are just getting the hell away. Excuse my language. They're getting away from LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department. So no, I'm just saying. So when you see Gardena, Carson, they're just that's sheriffs. So they're getting away from it.
I don't know if that's better, y'all, but you know.
But hey, you know,
want to get hit by blue or green? I don't.
Right.
But I do understand what you're saying.
So hey, try something different. You know,
rest
that
in
kind
peace,
of
brother Africa, shot by police, snatched out his tent.
Right.
But okay, well then we have a mighty task, and I don't, you know. The pain of our people is not gloom and doom. You know, as Minister Farrakhan says, we have to tell the truth. Find the truth, uncover it, and tell it. And so the truth is that, you know, I'm sheltered, but my sister on Skid Row is not sheltered. So how comfortable should I be, you know? And how can we help people in a real way, like a real way?
Well, if you don't mind, it's really difficult because a lot of people just want the simple answer. There is no simple answer. You know, it's so complicated because there's a myriad of issues, and it's on a case-by-case basis. You know, the biggest question I get, the most popular question I get is the number one question I hate. What is the one thing
that will solve
homelessness? Like one thing.
What you get in Berlin? Was it Berlin? Look,
Berlin.
They do, go back. One may be go back and undo what Reagan did, but I would venture off to say you got to go way back and undo the enslavement.
But right, and so reparations is a part of the conversation. You know, but even something like mental illness, you know, a lot of people don't understand. You know, when they think mentally ill, like, you just medicate them, get them on some medication and stabilize them, and they're done. And that's like the Department of Mental Health, which is the LA County Department. Their annual budget is nearly $3 billion. That's with the B, not an M, $3 billion. And, you know, we're still trying to figure out exactly what do y'all do? Because I've talked to not only the current director, Dr. Jonathan Sharon, but the previous director, Dr. Southard, and and they both, extensive battle of the wits, and they had to, while they come to stabilize, our policies, and we don't care about that. In the history, my main question is, in the history of the entire existence of the Department of Mental Health, how many people have you cured of mental illness? And at the end of the day, they finally have to say none, because they said that's not what their objective is. Their objective is to stabilize, because they basically, once you get mental illness, you're stuck with it. Yeah. And so it's all about stable. And my whole thing is based on, but also too, going back to when you look at the history in America, there's a lot of, psychological warfare going on and things of that sort, where they'll trick people into thinking that they're mentally ill. Some people really are mentally ill, but systemic oppression, and then there's a lot of, I don't want to go to that. That's deep. I don't know. A lot of people may not be ready for that.
But it's like,
but so for example, the reason why I mentioned the whole mental health thing, because when we talk about solutions, there's some people that are, you have slightly mentally ill, then you have some that are severely mentally ill. That in my interpretation, in my opinion, on the front lines of Skid Row, there's no help. I don't know.
It's a spider's web.
I don't know what housing is not going to help them. The strongest medications on the planet, I don't think it's going to help them. To become normal. If you were never normal, maybe it was a birth defect. We don't know. Maybe they're so significantly and severely traumatized. There's a, so, right.
It worsens when you're dropped there.
Right. And then if you're homeless, after 90 days, that's traumatized. Some people have shortened it from 90 days, but imagine being homeless for 90 days consecutively. You're significantly traumatized. You have a mental illness. You qualify. And so from that, now all of a sudden you're taking these pills. What's going on in these pills? What are these chemicals? I'm trying to get a breakdown. Like what are you feeding our people? These chemicals. Chemical warfare. This is serious. And so just Friday, by comparison, folks, just Friday there was a story came out about in Pennsylvania where these officers killed this man. Who was known, they already knew he had a mental illness. And they said the report said the officers went to this man because they wanted to serve him with the mental health warrant.
29 years old, Osaze Osagi. Go ahead.
And I have first of all, as long as I've been doing this for 12 years, I've never heard of a mental health warrant. What is that and what does that mean? Like he's in violation of not taking his medications. He's in violation of not showing up to his doctor's appointments. Like, what does that even mean? And so a mental health warrant. So that's suspect right there. But then, they said, so the officers, of course, the law enforcement take was, he had a knife and he was coming coming after the officers. And so they had to kill him. And it's like, how does, and even here in Los Angeles, Los Angeles Police Department says they have what they call a SMART team, that's supposed to be for mental health services. But then, like you just mentioned, Brother Africa, rest in peace, March 1st, 2015 in Skid Row. The video went viral, over 80 million views worldwide, where LAPD just, snatched him out of his tent and just killed him in broad daylight. Yeah. And when we talk about the autopsy report, they show like all the different, the fighting, the stun gun, and he fighting for his life. But then the killer shots, there was two shots, one to the chest and one to the heart. Those were the kill shots at point blank range, where they said there were muzzle burns on his body. So, the officer put the gun right into his chest and bam and bam. Yeah. Those are kill shots. That's not helping mental illness. And so I'm saying that if you have these male officers that are struggling greatly to address the mental health needs of men, surely they have struggling to how they're going to address the mental health issues of women.
And can they address the mental health issues of themselves?
Right.
So, Brother General, we have to leave it there. But you got the Skid Row report. I mean, I don't know if you realize that.
Indeed. That's where we're
periodic, yes. at least once a month. Let's just call it now. Because I want to see some help. I do, but we do have to leave it there, everybody. Brother General, thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
And man, look, we have mental illness right in our own families. Sometimes people are up, they're down, people suffer with depression, and then find the next day, whatever it is. Seek help in the way that you think it will be helpful to you. And I want to thank our guests for today. Thank you so much, Brother Jesse Muhammad with the Farrakhan Factor. Thank you, Brother DJ, General Jeff, right here with the Skid Row Report. We're so honored to be here at Morris Media Studios. Thank you so much, Sister Felicia, the poetess Morris. Hey, Sister Felicia's got a special coming up. I got to get out of here, but I got to say this. Her special is coming up right here on her station. This is her station. She and her daddy built this station, right? So today marks the 24th anniversary of the passing of her friend and rap legend. We all know him, Brother Eazy-E. Tune in to Rags to Ruthless. Check out that Rags to Ruthless, the Eazy-E story. That's today at noon Pacific Standard Time, and it's streaming on MorrisMediaLive.com. So thank you so much for bringing us that history, Sister Felicia, and thank you so much to everyone for viewing. I want to invite you out on Sunday to hear Brother Tony Muhammad. If you're not coming on Sunday, you're missing it. The message starts at 11 o'clock, 8701 South Vermont. Brother Tony says, meet me at the mosque. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. If it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.